Also da heute der Talk auf Englisch wird, mache ich auch mein Intro auf Englisch. It's easier for me anyhow. Yeah? Welcome to Creative Mornings Freiburg. We are here this morning in the lovely Karlsruhe Library. This month's theme is revival, and I love this artwork. So it was chosen by our Fort Worth chapter and was illustrated by Marielle Gutzman. And it's just this beautiful color and jungle and plant and earthy. And as soon as I saw the graphic, I actually immediately thought of Andrew. Why? I don't know. I think just all of the color and vibrance and mixtures, and that's, I don't know if that's how you see yourself, but that's how I see you. Yeah. Just so much vibrance within it, and this revival, this feeling of starting anew, growing up from the ashes too. And Andrew is also part of the Global Shapers. This is Andrew. And he's going to be talking to you today on this month's theme of revival. I won't reveal too much, but he has something exciting planned for the finish of his talk today, so we will see. I would also like to thank our global sponsor, Adobe. Of course, our local sponsors. Last month we were in the Kronhof Lokhalle. They are one of our regular location sponsors. The Karl Schwarz House here is also one of our regular location sponsors. Mango Film, Bernd Kudo is usually here filming. He's unfortunately not here today, so I have my little tripod back there. And then we also have Viator, which is Max. And today, as well as last month, we had our lovely breakfast buffet sponsored by Simonakachai, which is Sabrina. Thank you very much. And with that, I would like to welcome Andrew, our speaker today. We're going to switch over laptops now.
Okay, hi. I'm really kind of, it's interesting that you thought of me as this very colorful person, you know, because I actually don't see myself like that at all. I grew up in the Caribbean, and one of the things about the way that I grew up is there was this big societal pressure on me to have my life in a certain way, you know, to get good grades, to get into a good school, to become a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, then to, you know, get a house, a car, have a family by the time I'm 30, you know, and that's success. So I'm 29 right now, and I was able to get good grades, you know, that's check. I became a chemical engineer, and I got a car, and that was really cool. So now I have to get a house and a wife and some kids in 1 year. and that really puts a pressure on me, you know, that at least that's how I used to feel. And then I decided to, because of COVID, I had a lot of time to think about my life. And this was like a kind of moment where I kind of started to realize that maybe I'm kind of successful, I'm making some money or whatever, but it feels kind of empty. And I was home without pay, and then I kind of decided, man, maybe I should try to do something different. And this kind of started my revival journey, yes? And then I kind of want to open up the floor for you all to kind of figure out, what does revival even mean for you all? I don't know if anybody has already thought about this based off of the theme of this week. What does revival mean to you?
Breathing new life into something that's needing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rebirth. Yeah. I think without heavy research, actually, I asked ChatGPT, and it generated this image, and I thought that it was really cool because I think revival encompasses a lot of what we as humans see in the world and what we decide to believe in. Whether it's revival of seasons, after winter comes spring, or in religion, you know, Jesus being revived on the third day. Even in popular pop culture, the phoenix that burns into flames, and then out comes this new phoenix out of the ashes. My favorite is actually a forest fire. Because after you have this really big forest, and all of a sudden everything gets burnt down, and what ends up remaining is this land full of ash. And out of the ash comes this new sapling, this new growth, and the start of a new forest. It just kind of goes to show that revival is, as you would have said, the beginning of something that's alive, or the reset, but not to the exact same thing that it was before, but to something that is strong enough to remain. Yeah? And for me in my life, I always kind of, now that I started this revival journey, kind of think of what the problem was with my level of version of success was in my forest. They had a lot of invasive trees that kind of started growing and I started giving care to. You know, I felt like I had to be this chemical engineer. I felt like I had to work in this job and continue this path until I become successful by 30. I have my house or whatever. And I think, just to kind of speak briefly on what I've gone through for these past 3 years. My first lesson is Environment Matters, which I think is actually something that the head of CreativeMornings actually really speaks about, the first person, that the people that you surround yourself with and where you decide to begin your revival journey. I think if I were to stay in Trinidad, which is my home country, probably by now I would have put down a mortgage for a house, and maybe I would have found a wife so I could complain about how crappy my job is, and I think I would have been miserable. I'm not too sure. Maybe I would have been happy. But coming to this new country and meeting all of these amazing people that gave me this different type of perspective of what my life could be, that was really impactful for me. And then also expect mistakes. Expect failures, expect burnout, expect losses. These things are bound to happen. And in my life, in my journey, when I came to Germany, I ended up kind of doing the exact same thing I was doing in Trinidad. I started in chemical engineering, working behind a computer in Trinidad. And eventually I kind of got out of that, and it was something that was really hard for me to do, to cut down those invasive trees, to burn down those invasive trees. And when I came here, I ended up doing the exact same, almost the exact same job. From my bachelor's degree to my master's degree, it was more or less the same thing in chemical engineering. And even the job that I was doing up until, let's say, 6 months ago, was something that I had to work behind a computer for. And it was something that I knew that now that I'm qualified, I feel like I had a lot of skills in it, and I could have gotten a job in this field, but that wasn't me. And if I were to do that, I really would not have liked myself. And the second time to cut down those trees were a lot harder, because I'm also an immigrant, and I need to get a job to stay here. I need a visa to stay here, and so it was not a very easy decision to not take that route. In both of the moments where I decided so far to make this revival journey, I was kind of lucky, because I was put in a space in COVID where I had to really think about what I wanted for myself. And actually 6 months ago, after this job that I was doing the contract did not get extended, once again I had to think, what do I really want for myself? And I would encourage, or at least this is the concept that I kind of started to think about, that when it comes to revival, it's not this big revival and all of a sudden you're healed, you know. It's like this continuous mini revivals. It's kind of, and hopefully proactive revivals, so that you don't burn out and then decide you want to make a change, you know. And the last mini revival that I kind of underwent, you know, I took up a job as a hotel receptionist, and in the terms of success, that is actually, or at least in the traditional terms of success, I don't think my parents would be very happy, you know, or at least that's what I thought. I'm a hotel receptionist, oh wow, just like you want it to be, you know. I was able to, in this moment, after getting this job, a friend of mine, she, in my room I have a lot of books, notebooks that I kept from my time in engineering school. Like my calculus book, and when I was in high school I kept all of these, let's say, exam prep tests for the SATs or something. And I don't know, I was really proud of these things, and because it really represented that part of me, that part of that success that I was so addicted to. where I lost my creativity and I lost my curiosity, and I was just on this path. And she said to throw out the books because it was just there, and I couldn't do it for myself. And she really helped me throw out these books, and I kind of felt really relieved after that. I kind of felt like, okay, those were my old versions of myself, and now that I'm revived, or I feel that I want to be this new person that represents my childhood, that represents the creativity and curiosity and this coolness that I thought that I had before all of this success. It really helped me to be at peace with the decisions that I'm making right now. And one of the last things is to be self-aware but not self-critical. I think that in many ways, I'm still on that journey because you sometimes really want to believe that your life could be better, or maybe those mistakes are going to cost you. Maybe, how could I even consider cutting down these invasive trees right now? How could I consider starting something new right now? I'm nearly 30, I have to just continue, right? And you want to blame yourself a lot. And I think that it's really important to really understand what journey you're on and really kind of find the core of, I would say, each of your forests as well. And this is where I kind of now invite you all to kind of reflect on yourselves, because I want to know, what does your forest look like? What is growing? What isn't growing? What are you putting water to? What's being covered out by the overgrowth? Is there a space that you have no space, something that you want to recreate, to revive in your life? I actually had a lot of papers here that I need you all to get pencils for. And I'm going to kind of ask some questions. There's only one thing that I want you all to write on, but I want you all to think about your forest. Sometimes you have the time to reflect and bring yourself to the present. For example, during COVID, maybe a lot of us had a revival story. But what I encourage you to do is try to intentionally bring yourself to the present and think about your life and think about what is the core parts of your forest that you want to keep. I know it's a very hard thing to do, but you know what's even harder than finding the seedling is to grow it. So you don't have to write all of this now. I think I just want you to write one thing, but I do want you to think, what does your forest look like? So mine was with invasive species, or maybe is your forest completely on fire? Is it malnourished? Are there weak roots? What is missing? Or better, what has been lost, faded, buried, or burnt out? Think maybe in terms of creativity as a practical example, or clarity, or joy, or purpose, time for yourself, time for your passions. And what caused that to fade? Was it an external something, an external pressure? Was it work, burnout, grief, self-doubt, lack of time, comparison? And this one was important. So what are you ready to let go of? That's what I want you all to write down. For me, when I threw away those books, it really just relieved that external pressure of me always kind of thinking, oh, I have to be successful this way, I have to be successful this way. And I think everybody's forest looks different. And I think that in that case, there's many things you can do to make your forest, I guess, more healthy, to revive some parts of yourself. And I really want you to try. I know this is a hard thing to do, and maybe you don't have to have the answer right now, but try to find time to be intentional about where you are and where you want to be. And then when you all are finished, what you all might get a chance to do that I didn't get to do is burn it. Maybe that's supposed to help, right? Burning down the wrong things doesn't mean that your past was wasted. It just means you're done letting them block the light. I think even for me, after I felt like I got rid of those invasive trees, sometimes you grow the same thing again, you know, and so it's very natural to make mistakes. It's just what's important is to be aware of it as early as possible. And I think that this is a kind of method that I hope, this is the first time I'm doing this, and for me, at least I think it helped me avoid a burnout. And I hope that if you continue to bring yourself to the present, it can also help you to avoid reaching to a point where you find yourself really out of control. Does everybody have it written down? Now I want you all to think of exactly what it is that you want to be revived from the ashes. And I would leave this space for you all to share if you all would like to. But you also don't have to. I think that this is also a personal journey, and I'm quite aware that people are in different stages of revival, and some people are going through a forest fire right now. And sometimes you can't even begin to think when the fire is blazing through your life, right? But it is still important to at least take stock of what it is that you do want to preserve, and probably let some things be eaten away by the fire, because it probably doesn't serve you, right? I have, from the NGO that I'm with, some plants, some saplings that I think could be a good physical representation of whatever it is that you want to start growing, to regrow in your life, right? To revive. And I encourage you to take a plant if you can. If you can't, it's also okay. I didn't bring a lot on purpose. But as you take it, kind of take it with a vow to yourself that as you nurture this plant, you also nurture whatever it is that you wanted to revive inside of you. Of course it's hard, and of course I think this is even the harder part. The plant, it always grows after the ashes, but to create a forest out of it, that's actually the hardest part. This is from our NGO, and just to also speak about us, who the Global Shapers are. We are a network of hubs founded and led by young people who are exceptional in their potential, their achievements, and their drive to make a contribution to their communities. And similar to CreativeMornings, we have hubs all around the world. In 2024, they kind of had these statistics of how many global shapers there are in the world. Active alumni are people that are above a certain age that still want to kind of be part of this community. And so there's 502 hubs in 154 countries with 419 projects that have impacted 50 million people worldwide, which I think is a really cool thing. And so then, if you do want to pick up a plant, we're giving away plants on June 14th. And I do hope that for some of you all can kind of take it as a metaphorical thing. It doesn't have to be a physical thing, but try then in your life to grow that thing that you really feel is missing in your forest. Thank you.